Welcome to Glazed Over, a podcast for contemporary ceramic studios. We're your host, Jessica Cowan.
And Amy Williams. You're invited to join us in creative conversation about life in the arts as entertainment space.
Hey, Jess.
Hi, Amy.
How are you?
I'm doing so good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, I get a little Midwestern for whatever reason when I ask, how are you? I feel like I'm on my Fargo a little bit, but you know, we start the episode every episode the same way. So I like to be consistent anyway.
It's important for the audience to know what they're getting into. Imagine if you said, how are you? And I go, just horrible. Everything is the worst. We'd need a whole episode to talk about it.
Exactly. Or imagine if I don't say your name and you never know who's talking. Like, did you have that experience early on in podcasts where you're like, I want to listen to this podcast, but I don't know who is who. And it's hard. So, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm with you.
That's funny. It's clearly a Monday morning if everybody can't tell by the nature of this intro. But we've actually had a really nice Monday morning because we talked to Tom Gilbert today of American Ceramics. And he was just such a fun chat.
Yeah, Tom was really awesome. He talked to us all about his journey from commercial printing to working in the PYOP industry with his wife to now coming into the wholesale distributor side of things. So he's got some really interesting stories and some really interesting ideas to innovate that I haven't heard before. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but I'm really interested in his little satellite drop-off locations that we're going to talk about some in the episode.
Yeah, it's nice to hear that his approach to being a wholesale distributor is to do the plus, the wholesale plus. And it's nice to hear what he considers the plus to be. So without further ado, we'll stop talking. I'm going to have my 5th cup of coffee for the morning and you guys enjoy the episode.
Yeah, enjoy.
Hey everyone, Des Toll here from Bisque Imports. You know how much we love our customers, and supporting the CCSA podcast is just one more way we can show up for you. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the episode. We're glad you're here.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Running a small business can sometimes feel isolating, but with CCSA, you're never alone. As a member of the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association, you'll be a part of a supportive community of studio owners just like you. Our forums, events, and annual convention give you the chance to connect, share ideas, and collaborate with other passionate business owners in the fine arts world. Join CCSA and tap into a network that understands your business challenges and is ready to help you succeed. Visit www.ccsaonline.com and get connected today.
Tom, tell us a little bit about, who you are and how long you've been in the industry. Just kind of give us the rundown because we're pretty new to you.
I'm pretty new to the industry, especially from this side. My wife has been in the industry for a few years, and through her, I've always worked with her in her shop, helping her out on weekends, busy days, nights, etc.
Cute.
Yes. I mean, on Sundays, I put on the apron and I'm squirting paint, doing whatever else that she needs done. I load the kiln, I dip, I sweep the floors, whatever she needs.
Good man.
So I learned most of everything that I know about running the business from my wife taking and running the business. We ran her business and my business in the same location to start out with. So I was in the back with my machine. She had the front half of a big building and she was running the studio. And eventually,
what was your business?
I had a commercial printing company for a little while. We started that 12, 13 years ago. We just recently wound that down, sold that off, but I was in the creative business and we both decided we were ready to make a move from our corporate jobs and do something together. And it started with a small art archival printer, and then it grew to providing everything from, large format printing, signage, stickers, banners, to apparel, embroidery, etc. We had quite a large setup.
That's cool. And your wife still has her PYOP, right?
She does. Oh my goodness. She's going to have that until I don't know when.
Forever.
Before we had a PYOP, we have 5 kids, and we would go on vacation and go to the beach like families do, or whatever, wherever we went. And there was always that time you needed the break from the sand or you needed the break from wherever you were. And so we would drive through the town and we would look for a PYOP and we would go and paint with our kids. And both of us had experiences as younger kids. I mean, I remember going back to Pennsylvania where my parents' families were. My aunt used to take me. It wasn't called a PYOP back then, and it was much different because we were working with greenware and you had to clean it up and you had to do all those other things, and then it had to be fired, and then you had to come back, and then you had to paint it. And I mean, it was multi step, not as easy as bisque is today. But I remember, and I still have a Buffalo Head nickel bank that I made when I was 7 years old. And my kids still have stuff that they've painted. My daughter's 26, my son's, 19, 18, and my youngest is 14, and they all still have stuff in their rooms that they painted when they were on beach vacations when they were 5, 6, 7 years old, which
That's
is
so
cool,
sweet.
right?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it's all for, right?
It is. It's the experience. It's the memory. I mean, it's the piece is secondary. The piece just brings you to the time.
What's the studio called?
So my wife's studio is called Speckled Turtle,
Nice.
and
Love that.
there is a glaze called Speckled Turtle. We love turtles. I don't know when we met, we talked about what our favorite animals were, and we both talked about turtles, and we love sea
Aw.
turtles. And so we've always, and we love going to the beach. We love going to the ocean. We love doing everything else. She doesn't have a turtle technically. She has a tortoise, but she has Tuck the tortoise that is
Wow.
in her studio. And we actually had to write that in separately into the lease because the commercial property owner was like, no animals on the premise. And we're like, can we have a turtle? And they're like, okay, we'll give you that one.
How old is Tuck?
Tuck is about a year, year
Okay.
and a half. We know a local breeder. And so the space isn't that big, and we didn't want to build something where we were going to have a big tortoise that needed a lot of room to
Mm.
roll
Yeah.
around. So the agreement is that we're going to have Tuck, and then we're going to replace Tuck when Tuck gets too big. And
Mm.
so this breeder, basically, we're feeding him for free for a year.
Oh, nice.
And then
Ah.
he's going to sell him to one of his other customers that doesn't have time or doesn't want to deal with the fact that most of the time these little ones, they sleep like 12,
Mm.
18 hours a day. I don't know what you're looking for when you're buying a tortoise that you think they're going to go out and fetch a
Yeah,
ball.
play that.
When they're buried and sleeping for 12 hours a day, they want to get past that baby stage.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, Tuck's gonna definitely be here for quite some time if I
Mm.
know anything about tortoises. That's
Yes.
exciting. So when did you guys take over American Ceramics? Tell us a little bit about that journey.
Kristen is my wife, needed another
Mhm.
kiln for her studio. So we bought all of our kilns, all of our equipment, most everything that we have in our shop related to the industry has come from American Ceramics. She went through and was trained by American Ceramics in everything that she needed to know. We needed a kiln as her business was growing, growing, growing. She's in 3,900 square feet. We started out with her in 800 square feet, and now she's in 3,900 square feet. It's a pretty big size studio. And they were delivering the kiln, and they said to us as they were delivering the kiln, hey, this is probably the last kiln you're ever going to get from us. Or actually, they didn't actually say probably, they said, this is the last kiln you're ever going to get to us. And that was October-ish of last year. What's going on? And they said, well, Pat Connor, who had run the business for 50 years and is going to be 90, and this month, I think, coming up, it was time for her to retire. So they were going to walk.
Yeah, we hope so.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah. And none of Pat's kids wanted to take the business over. And they were all kind of close to retirement age themselves. So they were just going to sell out inventory and call it a day. And I'm like, that can't happen.
Yeah.
I go, you've been here for 50 years. You've done so much thing. You've poured so much heart and soul into this industry, into what you're doing, whatever else. You've helped us in our journey. I said, let us buy the company. And we started conversations. Those conversations went back and forth for a couple of months. We needed to figure out what was what, and I didn't really have a good idea how to value the company. or what was
Mhm.
really behind what they were representing and that wholesale distribution side of the business. They told me how many customers they had and they shared certain things, but obviously they were being a little bit guarded because they had their whole legacy to protect. But through the end of it, 2 months worth of back and forth, we came to a decision and said, hey, we're going to go ahead and buy this thing. And it was done on the 31st of December.
Oh, wow.
We agreed that Pat would hang on for a month, and her daughter Connie, who has been significant in the running of the company for the past 30 plus years, would hang out, as well as all the other employees would continue on with us. After Pat was done with her month of time, we actually hired her back and put her
Yeah.
on an hourly rate because she still needed some transition time for
Yeah.
closure.
Yeah. A month is not very long.
It
Yeah,
wasn't,
no.
especially after 50 years. And, and
Yeah.
and there was days that she was sad and she wanted, she had
Mhm.
friends that were her customers, the people that came in and did other things. And she just needed a little bit more time without any pressure to just work the front counter, have conversations with people, and kind of ease herself into what she wanted to do for the rest of her life, spending time with family,
Mhm.
kids, whatever else. Connie, on the other hand, who has been there for 30 plus years, she's still with us. She sits right next to me every single day. She calls herself my older sister. And she basically, we work together hand in hand, and she helps us, make sure that we're continuing to do some of the work that we need to get done. We've been trying to expand and hire more people, and we have hired more people, but having 35 years of experience in relationships and knowing who's who at all of the manufacturers and all of those other things with such the reputation that she has been invaluable. She's been really a godsend to us. But at the same point, she realizes, hey, it's not her mom's company anymore. And we
Mhm.
have a vision and we want to take it to a different level. And she's like, okay, that's your call. Here's what I think, and here's where we can go, and here's what we can do. All in all, I think that she gets very excited. She could walk away at any time, and I'm
Mhm.
fully aware of that because she doesn't have to work. She's at the point where she can retire, and she does it, I think, because she wants to see the legacy passed, and two, because we've become family with her over the past however many years since we've been buying from her. So she
Yeah.
does. She considers me like a little brother, and she wouldn't want to see her little brother fail, and so she works tirelessly for us to really help us get to make sure that we're taking care of the people and growing where we need to grow and being the company that we can be.
That's really the blessing of a family run business, you
It
know?
is, and so I got an adoptive family, when I bought the business, which was cool.
What did you see in American Ceramics that made you take the plunge? You talk about not really knowing how to value the business, and it was, should you do it? Should you buy it? What ultimately got you there?
There was such a strong tie to so many key manufacturers in the business place. And the fact is that one of the struggles we had in the buying of the company is figuring out how are we going to buy the company? Are we just going to buy the company? And there's a couple of structures, and one was to buy it as a stock purchase so that we could maintain it with its whole tax identification number and all the contracts stay in place with school districts, et cetera, without having to have any transitional issues or whatever else. And that's where we ended up coming up with that. Now, doing that as a structure, there's a lot of extra work that goes behind that. A lot of due diligence, a lot more
Mhm.
paperwork filing and different things like that. So as we're trying to value this, I was thinking, okay, that's also the easiest way to make sure that we maintain this strength of all these distributor relationships because distributors didn't have to take me. You're looking at the top two glaze manufacturers, leading bisque manufacturer, the top four kiln manufacturers, the top wheel manufacturers. All of these people, once they heard that I had bought the company, they got on the phone with me and they asked me questions. Hey, who are you? What do you know? What do you know about a kiln? What do you
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
about a wheel? What do you know about bisque? What do you know about glaze? What do you know about our products? And luckily, because of my time working in the shop, I knew enough, I guess, that no one said, "Sorry, you can't continue the distributorship."
You passed the
Yeah.
test.
I did. I passed. I passed the test because I think there was a couple of them that were ready to say, you know what, we don't necessarily need you, and we don't need to train some newbie in our industry
Hmm.
because there's a lot of people in this industry who've been doing it for a long time. It's not an easy industry to get into. So hence, leading back to your question, what was the value in it? Well, there's not a lot of companies that do this. We come in at an entry level with premier partnerships with leading manufacturers with a little bit of pep in our step to go ahead and take it to that next level. We're not winding the business down. We're going to take it forward. And so I saw, hey, here's a foundation and a base that they kind of took it to this level in the road, but then the time and the energy and the money or whatever else, just there wasn't any more investment that was going to be put into it. It was kind of where it was. It was that family business. They got into a certain point, and I'm like, I'm going to inject some new life into it. And there's a long way to go. There's not a lot of obstacles in the way. The only obstacle is us not doing a good job for our customers.
Yeah, that's very fair. So, Tom, what is the new vision?
I like to call it wholesale distributor plus. Uh,
Ooh, okay.
all the businesses that my wife and I have built together and that we've grown together from beginning to end, we've always focused on what does the customer want? Put yourself in that customer's eyes, and because most of our customers were trying to monetize something that we were doing, whether we were selling shirts, and we're selling them to schools and PTOs and booster clubs, and they're taking our shirts and reselling them to make money to go ahead and do whatever else. There was an end goal there. Even if they weren't reselling our product, they had some sort of an end goal with whatever we were doing. And so it was like, what is that person who's buying our product's end goal? Once you figure that part out, it's like, okay, then how do you help them get to that end goal? And then what do those products look like that help them get to that end goal? And what services do you need to provide? And how do you need to provide that service to them to get them to that end goal? Because that's really what we want. If our customers are wildly, wildly, wildly successful, then they're going to keep coming back to us. If
Hmm.
our customers are not successful, they're going to go out of business, and then I'm going to have to go find new customers. I'm not very good at finding new customers.
Yeah, same.
In Kristen and I's career with our businesses, we only sold one deal ever in our print business. We never cold called anyone. Everyone was word of mouth business because we worked really hard for people. So come back to Wholesale Plus. It's like we want to make sure that we're that company that has all the availability of the product that they need to be successful, because that's key. If you don't have the right products, it doesn't matter how hard you work or how much you care about what they're doing. You have to invest in the right products. Second
Yeah.
thing is you have to go ahead and enable your people that are your customers to be able to know what they can do with those products. So invest in educating your customers if they need it. Now, I'm not going to be so arrogant this new into the industry to say that I'm going to educate someone who's 30 years into the business about what they do or don't need, but there might be a new product that comes out that they haven't heard about that I'm like, hey, have you ever heard about this? And by the way, I just went up to this manufacturer's site and I learned everything about it. And here's some really cool things that you could potentially do that could open up some new channels for you. And what do you think about that? And if you have any questions, give me a call. And if I don't have the answer, then let's go ahead and talk to the manufacturer about what it can be and how that can fit into your bigger game plan.
That transparency is key, I think, in running a business like yours.
There's so many companies that they focus on, okay, let's just get everything onto a website and we're going to make it really easy to buy, which is something that we had to do because American Ceramics did not have an e-commerce website. They had a website, but you couldn't buy anything. If you wanted to buy from American Ceramics, you had to call in. You had to place your order. You could go in person or you would call in and you would place your order. Then they would either run your card over the phone or do whatever else. Just implementing an e-commerce solution was part of it that helped out because everyone's used to that today. And it's simpler, it's easier, it's all those other things. But that's not the magic bullet. That is just a tool within the toolkit to go ahead and make things easier. Wholesale Plus is be easy to deal with your customers. Be the easiest to deal with your customers. Don't be hard to deal with. Be easy to deal with. Have the product that they need. Listen to what they need to go ahead and help them. If they need some other thing, provide them with education to go ahead and do all of those other things, and then figure out other pain points that they have. For instance, one thing that we had to do was move the company. The lease was in Fort Worth. I live an hour and a half from Fort Worth. I was driving that for 5 months. I spent a lot of money on gas and tolls in Dallas, Fort Worth. There's a lot of toll roads. But that wasn't the only reason I moved it. Two, the building was old. It wasn't upkept as it should have been. The rental rates were too high by comparison to what I could get in other areas of the town. So I moved the business to a bigger, brighter, slightly more expensive. I think I paid $200 and I got 1,000 more square feet.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So it was a good move. And I've got glass front along the front. I've got training rooms that are nice and airy and lighted. My warehouse is fully air conditioned compared to their warehouse section was not climate controlled. Lots of different things that I went ahead and did. Now, when you have a company that has been in Fort Worth for 50 years and the customer base is used to driving to Fort Worth, especially the people that were there on the western side of the DFW Metroplex, and now you're telling them they've got to drive an hour east and north to go ahead and get to you, they weren't happy. And that was a good bulk of their local based business. They didn't like me as a new owner moving the business. And we told them that we were going to be moving the business because the building wasn't going to suit our long-term needs.
Yeah.
And we let them know for months and months and months, and people were resisting that. But what we had to do as a solution, and this is something that I was planning on doing whether we moved the business or not, we went out to some of our studio partners that are good customers and said, hey, would you like to be a satellite pickup location?
Smart. Very cool.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
so we have people in the DFW Metro or over in the Fort Worth side of town that when someone orders online, once a week, we'll go ahead and drop their product off at that location so they don't have to drive that extra hour and spend that $17 in tolls that they're going to spend on their product. And we gather up enough of it, and there's just that little bit extra that it's not costing us anything more to go ahead and drop that off. And guess what that does? That introduces a potential hobbyist who's buying, an 8-ounce bottle of Stroke and Coat to an instructor that can take them on their next level of their journey, or it's bringing foot traffic into everyone else. And let's say that they're two rival, I won't say rival because there's not such a thing as rival, but two other studio owners. And those people can look at each other and say, oh, look at what you're doing. Look at what I'm doing. Hey, maybe you could come in and you could teach this class for me because you teach hand building or you teach wheel throwing and I'm a PYOP studio and I would like to go ahead and get that. And then working together and forming more community and collaboration through these introductions of people that didn't even know each other. And I think that all of these things have had, even in the short term, have had a little bit of a positive effect. If anything, just saving the time and the money on tolls and driving has been a positive for customers. Anything else is secondary. And then those studios, they're getting a little bit extra discount on their product for giving me some shelf space. They're getting their product delivered to them whenever they need their product for free. And they're getting more people walking in their door as potential customers or networking opportunities. So, once again, you can easily just sit and, look at any wholesale distributor and say, oh, there's a bunch of guys sitting in a warehouse with a little will call area that you can go in and order your stuff and come and pick it up. And I wanted to be more than that. And whatever we can do to continue to be more than that is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I love that. That's really innovative. I don't know personally of anyone who's doing it like that. So that would be a benefit for me if I was in that area.
Yeah, we're as we continue to talk and as we continue to build relationships, we've got 4 satellite pickups throughout the DFW Metroplex. I'm still looking to go ahead and get 3 or 4 more because the Metroplex is big and there's people like, oh, well, what about, southwest side of Dallas? What about the east side of Dallas? And then I'm waiting for someone to say, hey, can you get one in Wichita Falls? Or
Right.
And I'm like, okay, that's a little too far for me to deliver bottles of glaze once a week.
Well,
But
if someone does want to be a satellite, how should they contact you?
the fact is that they can just go ahead and call and ask for me,
Mhm.
and let's talk about it, see if it makes sense. I don't put boxes around business. If there's some way that we can be mutually beneficial to each other, then let's talk about it. And that's what Wholesale Plus is. It's like, all right, do you have a studio? Do you have a skill set that you can go ahead and train, and you can bring other studio owners in and we can train them that, and I will pay you because I've got 2 training rooms that we do things. One of the great things that American Ceramics has done over the past 20 years has been a certified provider of continuing education credits for teachers in the state of Texas. So teachers have to get their continuing education credits, and they have to get them through a certified company. And American Ceramics is that company in the state of Texas to go ahead and provide that continuing education in the ceramic space.
It's really cool.
It is cool. So
Yeah.
we've got access to all these teachers in the summertime. We've got studio owners, and we've got all kinds of other people that can teach, hey, what's this glaze technique? What's this whatever technique? It's amazing the number of people that don't know enough about their own kilns. One of the biggest investments
Yeah.
in their shop, I had a studio owner call me the other day and said, hey, what's going on with this? Is there anything that you can help me out with? American Ceramics had built a network of kiln repair people, independent kiln repair people that they would refer over to their customers. And we still have that network of people. But in the meantime, we actually have a couple of people that have been working with our company and helped us move. One of them being Connie's nephew and Pat's grandson. He's a firefighter. And so he's, 3 days on, 4 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off kind of schedule. So when I was moving from Fort Worth to here, he helped me out a ton. He provided some muscle when I needed it.
Oh,
And we built a relationship. He said, hey, I'd like to be a kiln repair guy for you. And so we're sending him to get certified. So we're going to be able to provide that service, not just as a referral, where the people in our referral network are great, but they're few and far between in the great state of Texas. And sometimes it
Mhm.
takes 3 weeks to get someone there. And you can't wait 3 weeks when your kiln's down.
yeah.
So we're going to have a couple more in-house people. We're actually going to have 4 in-house people that are going to be able to respond. That is not going to be their primary duty, but they will be there because when you need a plumber, you need a plumber. You want me to replumb your entire house. That's not going to be our main job. If your kiln goes down, or you're having a specific issue, or something isn't happening, or you maybe weren't even educated fully and properly in the operation of your kiln in the first place, and you're not running it to the best efficiency, then hey, we're going to have some people there that know how to do it. Once again, Connie and American did an amazing job at free test firing every time they sold a kiln. So anytime someone bought a kiln, you got your set of test cones. They ran through the entire, hey, these are the buttons that you push to go ahead and get this thing. And then you hit go. We went through it with them when we bought our first kiln. Connie took me through it. And goodness gracious, I'm glad we did, because the electrician installed something bad and it actually sparked in the box.
Oh my God.
Oof.
Yeah, it was scary. It was scary. So I ran and I shut the thing down. She said, "Okay, call your electrician back and then call me tomorrow. I hope you're okay." Well, I called the electrician back. He left. He's like, "Oh, I forgot to go ahead and put a little bit of tape around this part of the wire." And I'm
My
like,
bad.
yeah. And I'm seeing this big black spot on the inside of the box, and I'm like, yeah, that's 240 volts,
Ugh.
like 80
Yeah.
amps. No big deal. It's not like it's just a little 110 outlet or anything. But he came back and he fixed it, and then Connie ran us through it again, and of course we got the right cone firing results, and we knew what we were interpreting, and we knew what buttons to push and how to do it, and taking it forward. We're continuing to do that. Every kiln we sell, we do that with. And we want to make sure that as people have their kilns, ultimately you're going to go back to a manufacturer to find out the real stuff. And we've got those great relationships with those manufacturers that we can go ahead and send them back to those people. But if it's something simple, we're going to be able to do it. And then also, if you need that once a year maintenance kind of, I'm not quite sure, or I'm afraid to go ahead and change out a thermocouple or whatever else, hey, we can send someone out to go ahead and do that. We can check your elements.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm jealous of the Texas studios that get a firefighter
Mhm.
to come to their studio to check their kiln. Can you send one to Atlanta? Just wondering.
Yeah. Actually, we actually just sold 2 or 3 kilns and a bunch of wheels into a studio in Atlanta.
Oh, good.
Um,
Oh, fun. The kiln maintenance part is such an underserved area. Like our suppliers, our manufacturers do a great job at supporting us through it. But I've been in the unfortunate situation of it is the Friday before Christmas. Both of my kilns are down. All things are wired. There's nobody for 2.5 hours that can come and do anything to help. And it's Christmas weekend, so they're not coming anyway. Everyone's closed and it's just terrible. So having some people that can help walk you through it, or even come and do it if you're scared. I had to learn trial by fire. I never wanted to learn how to change my elements, but I did. But I think that there's a lot of us out there who would love to have someone that we could just call and say, hey, can I schedule you to come out here and do this maintenance for us? We'd probably do more maintenance more consistently if we could.
it's agreed. And if you change the oil in your car every 3,000, every 5,000, or if you're like me, every once in a while, every 10,000, because you just keep on driving too much and you just don't have time. And it just happens. Life happens. You get busy. It has to happen because if you don't do it, you are going to go ahead and ruin that 5, 6, 7, $10,000 investment. And it's going to get to a point of diminishing returns on the repair where you're going to have to buy a whole new one. And you don't want to do that. So that goes back to the whole, we want our customers to be successful. And how can they be successful? Because they're going to avoid those major costs that are going to go ahead and drag down their business and take money out of their pocket. Cash flow is king in all of these businesses because our PYOPs, they got to go out and they got to front a lot of money in inventory towards bisque and glaze and brushes. And their rents are not cheap anymore. And insurance and every other thing that's going on, not to mention you've got local government entities that walk in. My wife's studio, I've got so many stories. When she opened her last studio, she had an entire summer camp schedule booked out, and she was supposed to have gotten her occupancy permit the week before. Everything was fine, and we didn't do anything structurally to this building. All we did is put paint on the walls and change the flooring and brighten the place up. It was an old nail studio, and we just got rid of some of the cheesy decorations that they had in there, and then cleaned it up and made it feel gave it a beachy feel. It was really super nice. One of the inspectors came in and said, this water heater is not compliant. And we're like, this building has been here for 5 years. It's always been compliant until now it's our turn. And we got a week to go, and we've got 50 kids coming in next week, and 50 the next week, and 50 the following week, and 50 the following week. And that's the time where you make your money sometimes with PYOPs as your busy holiday seasons and your summers off and those things. And it's like, what are we going to do? We had to call a plumber, go ahead and get a different type of water heater because this one was a gas water heater, and it was on the first floor of a 2-story building. And so therefore, the only way to go ahead and make it compliant was for us to go ahead and vent it out over the entire roof because of carbon monoxide. The business above us was a gym. They didn't want a big pipe going right by their windows as their people are working out in the gym. The landlord didn't want a big pipe going out the back of the building to go ahead and do it. So our only choice was to go ahead and get an electric water heater. So then we had to hire an electrician. We had to do all these other things. The week before opening, we had submitted our plans 3 months before our plans had been approved. Everyone had walked through originally, and it comes down to last minute. And last minute things happen. That last minute thing was $5,000 that could have bought us some inventory. We don't want to be that last minute $5,000 thing. We want to be that thing that helps you avoid those things and help you drive your business, make your money, do whatever else. And so that's another part of wholesale plus whatever else. When I talk to studio owners and they're like, yeah, we're thinking about moving into a new place. And I'm like, where are you moving? What are your government regs? Who you talking to? And Connie does this as well with her pottery consultant business. She goes over leases and she goes over building plans and layouts and things like that, and electrical. And we talk about stuff beyond just selling bisque. Why? Because we've lived it.
Yeah.
And
if they win, you win.
Yes. And you want people to go ahead and avoid the pitfalls that you go ahead and avoid. And even if they can't avoid them, you can help them minimize them.
Are you spending hours managing studio bookings and class registrations? Occasion helps ceramic studios save an average of 3 days a week in admin time. With clever workflows, instant confirmations, and seamless class management, you can focus on what matters, creating amazing experiences for your customers. Join successful studios like Clay Cafe Avalon, who've trusted Occasion since 2016. Visit occasion.app and schedule a demo today. Mention Glazed Over Podcast for personalized setup support.
Hey, podcast pros, give yourself a high five for tuning in and leveling up your business game. Seriously, we see you. Here at Biscuit Imports, we're all about helping studios like yours thrive. From our ever-growing lineup of awesome bis shapes to a huge library of resources, videos, and tools, we're here to make your job easier and keep those customers coming back for more. Whether you're just starting out or you're a seasoned studio superstar, we've got your back. Let's keep the creativity flowing, the kilns burning, and the good vibes rolling. Check us out anytime at biscuitimports.com. We're here to help you grow, shine, and succeed.
Tom, as a person who has an e-commerce website, I'm not a traditional PYOP. I sell all my work online. I'd love to hear about what that was like of turning your business, which was just call and order, into having a website, and, what can customers expect also from shopping from your website?
I am not an e-commerce expert. Everyone thinks that it's so easy to just throw up a website and do whatever else. I've had lots of websites with my various different companies. And my wife with Speckled Turtle has a website with her company. But getting a website with a company with 10,000 SKUs is a lot. Think about every color of glaze, every type of glaze, and then all the variants of sizes and whatever else. That alone is a daunting task. Then you throw in the complexity of kilns and all those other things. I was working with developers in Taiwan who had developed the third-party app that integrated. I decided to go with Shopify. I didn't have enough time to do a full build out. It would have taken me a year and a half to get to where I was. And has it been the easiest? Has it been the most functional? Shopify is really much better for their wholesale business solution is not what they're really geared to, at least for my size company. And you can go ahead and pay money and get to that level, but we're not there yet. So we had to use a lot of third-party apps to go ahead and get functionality that we needed to. And one of them was a kiln configurator, being able to say 208 or 240, single phase or three phase. Right. Do you want upgraded elements? Do you want standard brick or 3-inch brick? Add your furniture kit, add a rolling stand, add a vent kit. So having drop downs for each of those categories.
That's a week of work.
It was, and the fact is that because it was a third-party developer, I couldn't get it to actually work. I loaded all of these things in. I followed the tutorials, and I have a phenomenal staff member who this is what she's really good at. And she was working on these things in the back end for me and doing all these things. And between the two of us, we did everything that we were supposed to do, but we couldn't make it show up on the website the way that the picture showed that it was going to go.
Yeah.
And this third-party developer was based in Taiwan. So I was up at 3 a.m. and I hit the chat button. And someone answered. They didn't answer during your US-based hours.
Right.
Button. You could send an email and they would tell you, try this, try that. Well, that two-way communication when you're trying to get a website up and going doesn't work for someone who's not a website developer. And I called other website developers and I don't know about third-party apps. I can't really control them, so I can't help you either. But I'll write you an app for $10,000.
Yeah,
of course.
And it's like, okay, well, that kind of defeats the point too. 3 a.m, I hit chat. I got lucky and we worked our way through it. And then it showed up on the site. I was so excited. I was in my kitchen working at the bar, my kitchen. I raised my hands and I about yelled and I'm like, oh, wait, I'm just sleeping. And it's a school day tomorrow. Yeah. And then I went to go in and tell my wife, hey, I finally figured it out. And I'm like, oh my goodness, she's going to smack me.
Listen, I get it. It's a lonely job working on a website.
But the next day I was like, hey, I did it. And then we celebrated it. That's one of those little things. And there's other people in the industry that have better functionality than our website all day, every day. Our website is still work in progress, but we do have the ability for people to go ahead and buy 10,000 SKUs. We have the ability for people to understand, hey, when you're shopping for a kiln, if you don't know what you're doing when you're shopping for a kiln, you have to answer these questions. They are required. You have to know your voltage, you have to know your phase, you have to know these different things. It's amazing the number of people that call up and say, what's a furniture kit? They're buying a kiln, they want to get into the PYOP business, and they don't even know what a furniture kit is. And you're like, it's okay. You explain to them what that is. And once again, wholesale plus, we want to be there to educate and help them understand. And hey, this is what you need, and this is why you need it, and this is, what it could or couldn't do for you. And these are your options. And then have those conversations. Add that to the fact that, so you talk about e-commerce. One of my pet peeves with e-commerce is people hiding their phone numbers, people hiding their contact details. I put mine right on the very front page.
Yep.
Here's our address. If you go to my website, you will see our address. You will see an email address. You will see a phone number. You don't have to look anywhere for it. You don't have to go ahead and Google it. Hey, American Ceramics phone number. What is it, please? And then search around for it and then go through pages and pages to go ahead and find it. Right there. We want to be available to people. And people are like, well, that's crazy. You're going to get all kinds of people calling you and they're going to waste your time. And I'm like, you know what? There will be some people that are going to call in and they're going to take a little bit more time for that 4-ounce bottle. But that investment in people and that customer service level and that availability of yourself, not just your product, but yourself, is something that is key to us to making sure that they know that we're fully vested in them as individuals, whatever they're doing, whether they're individual potters, whether they're people that go ahead and sell their products online to make money, whether they're studios, whatever their business model is, or even schools, the schools that we support. We're there for you, and we want you to be able to go ahead and get in touch with us. And I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. And I talk to customers every day as the president and owner of the company, even though we have plenty of employees that can go ahead and do it. If there's a question that needs to be answered, bring it to me. Maybe at some point we scale where that's going to be hard for me to do, but hopefully I've enabled enough people to go ahead and learn and take our vision of just radical wholesale plus customer service to that level that it's like they just know. And if they don't know the answer, then they will come and grab someone that does.
Well, speaking of your vision, what do you have in mind for the company in the next, say, 3 to 5 years?
The company, when I bought the company, they admitted themselves that they had gotten a little bit into the point where they were running the business, not so much for the sake of running the business, but as a hobby and a way to go ahead and communicate with their friends and doing whatever else that they had built over the last 50 years. They had stopped pushing the boundaries on new products, new services, more inventory. One of the key things is I walked into the business and they, because we bought the business when they were thinking about closing it down, the inventory levels were fairly well depleted. So we've spent $200,000 in building up inventory so far in the first 5 months of this year. I mean, that hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt a
Yeah, I
lot.
bet.
For those not watching the video, I took a sip of coffee when you said that and almost spit it back out.
And it's not because I'm independently wealthy, because I'm not. There's things that I had to do to go ahead and figure out how to buy that stuff. And one of them was selling our print shop, which freed up a lot of time for me to focus on this business, which I love this business. I am so energized with this business. I love the customers. They're creative, they're nice, they're great. I haven't met a customer that I have not liked. They're just good, nice, creative people. This industry and these people, they're just good, creative people.
Yeah.
And they have good souls and good spirits. You just really want to go to bat for them and do all those different things. Coming back to where that vision is and what we're trying to do. If we didn't have availability of product, that hurts our customers. And I had customers that were coming in when the first day I drove into the company and on a cold day in January, a customer came in and we didn't have like 3 or 4 of the glazes that they wanted. They had 10 of them, but they didn't have 3 or 4. And they're like, well, we can go ahead and order them, and the order is going to come in about 2 weeks with this manufacturer, and then you can come back and get it. Well, that doesn't really help them right then. Vision is to make sure that we build inventory to such a robust level that no one ever is lacking for any product that they need on a regular basis. Now, is that going to mean that I'm going to have every product under the sun? No, because there's some products that people have been asking for and no one else has bought it for like 10 years. I don't want to buy a case of something for one person that's going to buy that one bottle and the rest of it's going to sit there. That doesn't make any sense for me. I have to be healthy too as a business owner.
Right.
Otherwise, I'm going to go out of business. As hard as I try, I'm no longer going to be there for you. So I need to keep myself healthy too. But I want to have good availability of a broad range of products that will support 99% of the studio owners and the individual potters and the schools and everyone else that's out there as a customer. So I'm talking to people and I'm saying, okay, what do you need? Tell me what else you need. So American Ceramics didn't provide dry glaze products. Well, we're providing dry glaze products. We're going to start adding dry glaze products. You talked about the services. People are always asking, hey, who do you know in the kiln repair business? We're building a kiln repair business, arm that we can go and help people out. Education and training. We have a room that is dedicated to education and training besides the continuing education for teachers that we're going to hopefully bring in experts from all the leading manufacturers and have them give pop-ups. And we'll have leading people in the DFW Metroplex give pop-up classes. So we have dedicated training rooms. We've actually created, and it hasn't built out yet because of lack of inventory, but we were going to have a try-it room where we had every single, I won't say every single, but we would have one from at least 3 or 4 brands of wheels that people can sit down and actually try to make sure. I want to buy a wheel. Do I want to buy this brand A, B, C, D, or E? Brand E is $2,500. Brand A is $1,000, and they're everywhere in between. Why do I want to buy brand E at $2,500 or brand A at $1,000? Because it just basically spins around and we throw clay on it. And well, there are differences. It's just like a car. Why does someone buy, a Toyota versus Chevy versus whatever other car that they're going to get? It's personal preference. It's how it feels. It's what they need it to do. Is it getting it from point A to point B? Or what's the gas mileage on it? How long is it going to last? We're giving those people that experience, hopefully. Like I said, we haven't built that yet because we just got in a shipment of wheels. We're about 30 wheels backlogged to customers. We're hoping that we have those 4 trial wheels that we can actually put in that try-it room. But every time we seem to get one available, customers like, okay, I want it. And then we lose that try-it wheel.
All right.
But at some point, we're going to go ahead and order enough over that we will give ourselves that. And then people can go ahead and come in and actually try it and say, if I'm a studio owner that's a PYOP and I want to add clay to my studio, which wheel is the right wheel for me to put in my studio? And they can figure it out and we can figure out why that's going to work. And they can actually put their hands on it to really feel good about that purchase rather than just going ahead and saying, okay, it's going to be 12 here, order this one, 10 to 12 weeks manufacturing time to go ahead and get it shipped to you. And then it ships to you and then we'll turn it on. And then that's your first experience actually hands-on with that product.
Well, again, it's building the community. It's that investment. It's showing that you want them to succeed so that you can succeed. I mean, it's all so nice to hear, coming from a supplier. So thank you.
My wife is in the business, so I'm thinking through her eyes.
Yeah.
Every step that I go, I think through her eyes and I'm like, what would have helped her? Would she have hit her stride a little bit quicker if we had this?
How long have you been married?
20 years.
Wow, you seem like a really attentive husband.
So, well, I wish I was more so because we both work really hard and we don't see enough of each other because we're both running our businesses in 2 different areas. We used to run our businesses together. I don't know that actually was any better either. That was kind of tough. But
its own set of challenges.
Yeah.
But it has given me definitely unique insight because she will tell me flat out, no, you're being dumb. And you're not thinking right.
Yeah.
This is what I really need, and this is how I need it. Whereas another customer might not give you that insight. They might just get angry and walk away. And I don't ever want that to happen. And if a customer's mad at me, I want them to go ahead and tell me, and then I want to figure out why. But sometimes that's not going to happen. I know my wife, every time she's angry with me, she's going to go ahead and tell me exactly why. And she's going to lay out a 16-step plan to what I can do to fix it.
I like her.
Yeah, I like her too.
She's great. She's great. And I mean, she's such a solid, strong businesswoman that has developed the speckled turtle into what it is. It's a big studio. 3,900 square feet is not small. And she's got a
No.
big rent payment and she's got all of this pressure on herself, doing all these other things. And she's grown it and she's knocking it out of the park. And why? Because she has a vision and she follows it. And I know what her vision is because I've lived it. And now I can help other people follow their visions. And it doesn't have to be the same as my wife's because every studio has their own niche. Every studio can go their own way. What works for my wife might not work for someone in a different city. Follow your passion, figure it out, avoid the downfalls, find partners that are going to prop you up,
Yeah.
and work hard and be nice to people, and you should win.
Very well said. This episode is coming out after convention, but I do want to chat a little bit about convention right now. This is American Ceramic's first time coming back in a while, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what made you want to come back, and what we're getting an early peek at this, but what are you hoping to do at convention? Meet with customers, like what is it that your goal is for convention?
It was a lot easier since convention is right in my own backyard this year.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even have to book a hotel room. I can drive there every day.
Oh.
I'm like 20 minutes away. So
Wow.
that was a good way to ease myself back in. My wife has been to convention and I've wanted to go to convention with her business, but 5 kids and
Yeah.
like I said, our kids are getting to the age where they don't need us around, but still, we had some family obligations. Plus we were running a couple of businesses and it just didn't make sense for us to go together. Well, we feel we have the staff that we can go ahead and step out and go there. I want to immerse myself in these customers. Once again, it's not so much about selling to these customers. And I know that there's people that are coming from all over the United States. And some of those people are not going to become customers of mine because it doesn't make any sense because I'm not going to be able to compete with a local supplier to them, with cost of transportation to some of these products.
Mhm.
If you're on the East Coast, buy from someone on the East Coast because they're going to be able to ship it to you cheaper. It's just a fact. I'd love for you to go ahead and work with me, but that's just not what I'm going to be able to do for you. But talking to different people about what their different challenges are, what their successes are, what they've done kind of neat in their studios might lead me to a whole new set of products that I want to go ahead and implement. We don't sell it right now, but my wife has canvas painting events. She has stained glass events. She has cool events with sea glass and other things like that, be above and beyond all the things that are related to clay, PYOP, bisque, wheel, hand building, all those other things. Maybe there's an opportunity for us to go ahead and find out what some of those things are. I've always been a good figure outerer. Hey, how can I go ahead and find that? And if we can add that in, if it makes sense and everyone's making money with sea glass, I got a buddy who knows someone down in Alabama that they can get this for us and I can create a distribution channel for it, lower the cost for everyone across the board. Maybe that makes sense.
No.
Maybe it doesn't, but maybe it does. And so
Yeah.
it's just going to be intel gathering on smart ideas because I don't have every smart idea in the world. And there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of smart ideas and they just don't have the time to implement those. And maybe I've got an access to a channel that their smart idea, I can go ahead and make it a little bit more efficient. Figure something out that's going to work better. And that's my main goal. And then just meet a lot of people that I haven't met in the industry. I haven't met anyone in the industry. My wife knows a ton of people.
Yeah.
She's gone to these events and I mean she'll go around and she'll wave and she's a social connector
Yeah.
in our town, in our state, in the community. I mean, she knows studio owners from all around the country that she talks to and shares ideas with. So she's going to go there and she's going to have all of her people in her network. I really don't have a network yet that I've talked to. I mean, I've talked to people on the phone, but I'm going to go out and I'm going to meet some of those people for the first time. And I'm going to go and I'm going to build my network and they're going to get to know who not only my wife is, but I am, and then understand, hey, this is what we're trying to bring to the industry and hopefully it'll make the industry better.
I'm excited for you. And you have us in your network now. So you're going to
Yeah.
convention with at least 2 people in your network.
Yes.
Great.
We'll introduce you to everybody we know.
All right, perfect.
Thanks for listening. Des Toll here from Bisque Imports. We're proud to support the CCSA podcast and even prouder to support the amazing folks like you. Keep creating, keep growing, and we'll catch you next time. Take care.
Feel like a juggler at your ceramic studio? Between classes, bookings, and admin tasks, those pins keep flying. Let Occasion help you put down the act and get back to creating. Visit occasion.act to discover your peace of mind.
Want more customers to find your Fired Art studio? As a CCSA member, you'll get a prime spot on our CCSA Studio Locator, a tool designed to help customers discover you. Your studio's contact info and online links will be featured on our website, reaching a lot of potential customers looking for creative experiences just like yours. Whether it's parents planning a pottery party or someone looking for a fun day out, the CCSA Studio Locator helps them find their way to your door. It's a simple but powerful way to boost your visibility and grow your business. Join CCSA today and make sure your studio is on the map. Visit ccsaonline.com for more details.
Well, Tom, as we kind of bring it to a close here, how can we stay connected with you? How can your customers find you? Is there anything that you would like to leave us with?
How do we
as
become a customer?
As we bring the episode to a close?
We should be pretty easy to reach. Our website has all of our contact information right on the front page. So americanceramics.com. We have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram page as well that we can be found. Call the phone number. We actually have 2 phone numbers. Email us, sales@americanceramics, and say, hey, I saw you on the podcast. I want to know about this, this, and this, and this. Although we have 3 or 4 people that are pulling emails off, if you go ahead and address it to me, then they'll send it right to me, and I'll go ahead and talk to them. I'll talk to that person. You want to become a customer? Just call me up and say, hey, I want to become a customer. What do I need to do?
Love that.
You can sign up online. It's as easy as that. And it's crazy. We've sold to people across the country. We've actually shipped product to California. We've shipped product to Massachusetts. We've shipped product to Georgia. We've shipped product to Florida. So we haven't just been local since we've launched the website. And I don't know where those people came from, honestly, but they found us somehow, some way. I've had conversations with a couple of those customers, and they've come back. Send smoke signals. Call us. Whatever. We're available.
Fly a pigeon.
Yes, fly a pigeon.
Love that. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been a real delight to get to know you a little bit better. And, like I said, this episode will come out after convention. So I know that, when everyone's listening to this, that we had an excellent time and that you made a lot of great connections and that everybody, learned a lot from meeting you at convention. So thank you so much.
Everyone's
for being
going, oh my
here.
gosh, Tom, we love him.
Yeah. Oh, remember Tom? Tom's the best.
We hope they say that.
We know that they will. But yes, thank you for being on today, Tom. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Glazed Over is brought to you by the CCSA, the Contemporary Ceramic Studios Association. Thank you to our moderators, Amy Williams and Jessica Cowan. Editing by Scott Lester. Executive production by Vicki DeWord. Learn more at ccsaonline.com.